We are going to review how to install the Alarm.com dry contact sensor to monitor float switches on an HVAC system. Here we have a little test board. If you imagine this section being everything inside the HVAC unit, transformer and control board. Here we have 2 float switches wired in series and then a thermostat. As of now, power leaves the transformer and goes to our control board, leaves the control board and enters float switch 1, leaves float switch 1 and enters float switch 2, leaves float switch 2 and enters the thermostat. For the dry contact sensor to monitor the float switches, it needs to monitor the voltage at the last float switch in series and common. To do that, you simply connect one dry contact lead to the float switch wire that connects to the thermostat and one dry contact lead to the common terminal on the HVAC control board. Since the dry contact wire is a lot smaller than the 18 gauge thermostat wire, I usually recommend twisting the 2 wires together to make sure the dry contact wire doesn't slip out during or after installation. So right now, power will leave the transformer, enter our HVAC control board, leave the HVAC control board and go through both of the float switches and then enter the thermostat, and the dry contact sensor will measure the voltage between float switch number 2 and the thermostat and common. So when we power on the equipment, the dry contact sensor sensed the 24 volts and now it is in normal state. When we trip the float switch for a test, the dry contact sensor no longer detects the 24 volts between the float switch and common, and the light blinked, and at this point in time the customer would receive a notification that the dry contact sensor is in an alert state, and on the partner portal it would be considered a customer trouble condition. When power is restored, the light blinks, the customer will receive a notification on the phone that the dry contact sensor has returned to normal, and the alert would be removed from the customer trouble conditions on the partner portal.